race day. Headed back to Red Cloud on this Saturday for another 600 to win weekly show. It's going to be a little bit different. We got some stuff pretty tore up on this car. I never did really touch on it. This is just bodywork, cosmetic. There's nothing mechanically wrong back here. But unfortunately up here, took a pretty good shot right there, and we got some bars that are broken, and the motor actually slid over because it got hit so hard, and we think the pan might be broken because it hasn't stopped leaking oil since 2 weeks ago. So, and another thing, this is a different motor here. Probably never seen it before, but Isaac ended up pulling that engine out because they've been having so many problems with it and such. And this motor over here is an IMCA spec motor with a wet sump pan on it. And I traded my 604 crate engine for this. So we got to talking, and it was kind of one of them deals where we figured we better do something different with that engine before we hurt it. And this one had been run twice and was basically fresh from what I hear. So they're gonna drop that one in. I don't know if he's gonna try to put it together to race today or if they're gonna hold off. I don't know. I would assume it would just be me going this Saturday today, which sucks for car count, but at the same time, it's kind of less stress, I guess. But Isaac has been busting his butt and spent most of the day yesterday, which would have been Friday, getting his car dealt with and just trying to figure out what direction to go in. But another thing that happened this week is the Midwest, well, the mid-central, I should say, of Nebraska got 6 to 8 inches of rain on Wednesday. Now, 6 to 8 inches of rain in the 4-hour span is unheard of around here. So, we flooded bad. Carroll wasn't too bad. We got a pretty good draining system here, but Grand Island flooded. In some areas that drainage doesn't drain straight to the river. So, but I will say that our creeks are still full, very full, to the point where they're touching bridges on the main highways. So, like all of this, we had water clear up to here. This was just a huge lake right here. And you can see right there, that's what's left of it. And we actually had to get a pump, which is our hose, and we pumped the water out back here where it was high and dry. And so we really couldn't load anything until we pumped all the water out. So that's why the car isn't loaded and it's Saturdays, because we were pumping rainwater out pretty much all week. So yeah, I got the car serviced. I actually had to do a bunch of stuff this week. We made a switch over to Renegade Racing Oil, and instead of the Pengrade, We heard some things about the zinc additive and stuff is very important in these motors. And when you hear zinc, you think, well, you go to flat tappet cam and that. No, we don't. The minerals and the dinosaurs are really important to have when you have high performance motors, whatever's built inside of it. And that allows that motor to that allows the oil to be cooled and cooled and cooled and cooled. When you don't have those ingredients, the oil builds heat. And when the oil builds heat, your motor's gonna run hot. So we believe that by switching to this oil that we were told specifically by somebody very important, that the motor should not build heat and that the oil will be cooled as you run. And we have oil coolers and all that, but it goes to show you that no matter how good of an oil cooler you got, if that oil doesn't have the right ingredients, it's not gonna cool down, and then your motor's gonna build heat. And the last time I ran, had it not been for a couple cautions, I wouldn't have been able to cool my car off. And the last thing I want to do is hurt an engine because I ran it hot, you know? I got to get this thing loaded. It's going to get hot, and I don't want to be overdoing it when I got to wear a fire suit tonight. So let's get her going, huh?